when you're a heavy guy or when you're 16 stones plus and you're sparring 20 rounds or whatnot, there's a very high chance one of you are going to get caught with a shot that you're not going to like. When I got in the ring with him, because they put me in first, and I was first for a couple of times as well, but that Monday I went in first and I thought, fucking hell, it's not like TV anymore.
Hi there, Joey Mills, the Sportsman, and I'm here today with Simon Ibekwe, upcoming heavyweight prospect, sparring partner of Anthony Joshua. Simon, how are you doing today?
All good, man. All good. I'm literally pretty much just knees deep in camp at the moment, so gearing up for my fight October the 5th. But all good. How are you? You okay?
I'm good, thank you. We'll get onto that fight later on, but First of all, I wanted to ask, how did you react when you first got the call and you got told that you were getting in there with Anthony Joshua? What went through your mind?
Because obviously it's boxing at the end of the day, but if it was any other thing, like, I don't know, getting a phone call to play football with Ronaldo, it's a bit more of a different thing because you can just enjoy the moment and everything, and it's a whole different experience compared to obviously being involved in the camp with a world champion or current world, or going to be a current world champion, I believe. And so at the end of the day, we have to go in there and do a job. We have to get punched and punch each other and stuff. But it's more of I feel like it's a good idea or good thing that obviously I'm being noticed, because obviously I'm putting in all the hours and weeks and everything in training and finally getting a bit of recognition for my work. So it's an honour that I obviously got the call down to obviously do rounds with Joshua, which is good. But apart from that, it was a whole opportunity just to learn as a whole, to be honest, a whole opportunity to learn and to be mixed in with hungry fighters as well, which was really good.
What was it like? You're gloved up, ready to go, staring across the ring from AJ. What was that first session like for you?
It was a bit of like a 1% of a surreal moment, because at the end of the day, that was my first time seeing him. And obviously we've seen him on TV and everything. And I feel like sometimes you form your own assessment or your own analogy of someone when you haven't seen them. But that was my first time seeing him. And when I got in the ring with him, because they put me in first, and I was first for a couple of times as well. But that Monday, I went in first, and I thought, fucking hell, it's not like TV anymore. It's not like TV. And the thing about Joshua, he has this focused look in his face. That's what I've noticed as well. I think nowadays he's just got a focused look in his face. So when we got in the ring, it was obviously I said hi to him outside, but when we got in the ring, there was no we're good friends or anything. It's just straight, okay, you're the meat, you're the sparring partner, and we have to go at it, and vice versa. But obviously outside the ring was fine, but inside the ring it was a surreal moment. But then I just thought, oh, you know what? He's a body just like I'm a body, and we both have a job to do, and we're both going to execute our jobs.
Everyone knows how much power Anthony Joshua has, but very few people have actually felt that firsthand. What is it like feeling the power that AJ possesses?
It's just calculated, because me, myself, personally, I'm quite a thinker of a fighter as well. So obviously coming from the whole Ngannou win that he done, which was really good, and I think everyone showed, or it kind of shone more light on his concussive power. But obviously just analysing that performance and everything, I just thought, I'm not going to get caught with that. I'm not going to get caught with that. And as I said, I'm a thinker in the ring as well. So there is certain things that I have in my skill set that can kind of nullify certain things. But just as a whole, because we've sparred many rounds throughout the week, he did catch me. But I think it's one of them shots where you'd think if we had 10 ounces, it wouldn't be nice at all. But he's a lot more calculated in the ring. He doesn't really waste shots, I would say. He doesn't really waste shots, but it's a lot more intent in his shots.
I can imagine, as well as a young fighter yourself, that you've learned a lot fighting, sparring with a world champion up close. Are there any lessons that you've taken away from spending time in the ring with Joshua?
Yeah, many lessons. Just the fact that I think, because sometimes we think when people are in obviously at different stages in their career, but when you think that they're obviously so far gone, you feel like they do things that's like alien or out of this world. But when obviously spending time with him day in, day out, I see that he just obviously has a huge commitment to his game, which I do as well. And I don't think there's not much different to what he does at the moment, apart from obviously the commitment and the drive and the discipline and everything. And sometimes I feel like some people obviously look down on that, but he really, really is disciplined, and he's really, really does practice his craft daily, which is good. But yeah, there's just obviously gems that he's gave me as well, and just stuff that we spoke about in terms of like even just after the spars, some of the things he does in the ring that he just feeds onto me and everything. And his coach Ben Davison gave me a few tips as well, which is really good.
Has there been anything that surprised you about AJ? Has there been anything that he does in the ring where it's not something that you expected from him? There's maybe elements of his game that we haven't seen on fight night, but things that he's got in the locker that you've seen training with him.
This is, or what people have said, that this is the best AJ we've seen. And just being around it, because as I said, this is my first time seeing him, but being around it, I can see like he has this laser focus. It's almost like he has a goal in his head. And from obviously, I think everyone have seen like the evolution of Joshua, but from being in the ring with him, I feel like now his shots are a lot more calculated. As I spoke about before, his shots are a lot more calculated, and he's always like, even when he's on his back foot, front foot, he's always seemed like he's thinking, and he always seems like he has a plan A all the way down to Z, which is I feel like it's very it's important to have as a fighter, but not many fighters have these things. But yeah, those are the main things I picked from the camp anyway.
Every fighter trains differently and approaches a fight with a different strategy and a different training regimen. But I wondered, have you been asked to watch any footage of Daniel Dubois and replicate his style at all, or have you just fought your natural game when you've sparred with AJ? I just wondered, have you had to tailor your style to sort of replicate what Dubois is going to be doing?
I wasn't really asked, but just the fact that I was invited to the camp, I think there's people behind the scenes, the Ben and I think Lee Wiley and stuff. I think they must look at the way I fight, and they must have some sort of similarities to where Daniel Dubois fights. But me personally, I didn't really change my game much, because I think, me personally, I feel like if anything that has similarities with Daniel Dubois is that we have quite a good jab. We have quite a good jab, and we're quite similar with height. But apart from that, I don't think we're that similar. But I'm sure that there's stuff that AJ was working on that, where if the opportunity does arise, obviously in the fight with Daniel, that he is going to capitalize on. You
probably won't be able to tell me this, but I have to ask: has there been a moment? Have you caught him with any big shots at any point? I have to ask.
It's just sparring. It's sparring. At the end of the day, when we're getting in the ring, and then we need to think, like, because some people, or a lot of people, have these conversations on heavyweights getting caught with a shot, getting dropped, and everything. When you're a heavy guy, or when you're 16 stones plus and you're sparring 20 rounds or whatnot, there's a very high chance one of you are going to get caught with a shot that you're not going to like, especially if you're sparring at a decent level. But I can't really say much about the sparring, but it was good spars. It was good competitive spars, and really learning spars for myself and hope for him as well.
And you talk about learning there, and you touched upon before getting some advice from Ben Davison, obviously one of the best trainers that this country has to offer. Can you go into a little bit about what Ben told you and how it's helped your development going forward? Yeah,
because like some coaches, they kind of like tend to keep their stuff to themselves, or especially just their fighters. But I feel like just the fact that Ben has obviously seen us in the ring with Joshua and everything, and seen that we are upcoming fighters and we're hungry as well, I think he kind of respected that. And there were certain things, like even like when I was just doing shadow boxing and stuff, was having conversations, and he gave me a few gems just to add to my game, which is good. And obviously Lee Wiley, I think he does the analysis for the fights as well, or for the fighters. So yeah, we spoke as well, but obviously I can't reveal everything. But yeah, they gave me a few good gems.
And you're 3-0 in your own pro career. Everything's gone your way so far as a professional. I just wondered, what are your aims for your next few fights? Is there a game plan of where you want to get to in 6 months, a year?
I have a fight October. It's my first 6-rounder. Then hopefully again, I'm going to have a fight December as well. That should be another 6-rounder. Then next year, I'm hopefully looking at titles, hopefully. So that's pretty much my plan. But I don't really like to look too far into the future. I just like to deal with one fight at a time. And especially, I think, just in boxing as a whole, sometimes you can plan, okay, this is going to happen by this day. Then next thing you know, you got another opponent and things just change last minute. But as long as you just do everything in your power to complete, or to obviously move on to the next step, then different avenues open. But yeah, pretty much all my eyes and all my attention is just on October the 5th.
Well, let's get into that fight. You've got Phil Williams coming up. He's been in with some really good guys. David Adelai's fought him, Johnny Fisher, Cash Ali.
Yeah.
Have you watched much of him ahead of this fight?
I've just seen him. It's not really studied him, but obviously, as you said, he's fought most of the prospects coming up. So I'm sure I've obviously just seen fights of his, but there's some fighters or some prospects that wasn't able to do what obviously others has done, because he's quite obviously a crafty, experienced journeyman. But at the same time, he's beat a few people as well. So if you're not on your A game, he can give you a long night. But we're taking him very, very serious, and we're planning to do what others wasn't able to do.
And have you got any advice from AJ or Ben or anyone in the camp specifically for this fight? Have you asked them about how to approach this one? I'm
currently with Anthony Manning, so we're pretty much working on how to become a complete fighter. So fighters like this, without obviously downgrading him, but fighters like this, on my 60%, I should be able to still complete and do the job. So that's what we're working on pretty much every day. I just came back from training at Longville, so yeah, every single day we're working on being a complete fighter. So in that case, fighters like this, or obviously as I'm moving forward, on my 60-70%, I should still be able to do the job. But yeah, just as far as just Joshua, just obviously just normal conversations in terms of fights and everything, and like what to work on, the mindset and everything. That's the kind of conversation we've had in the camp.
And obviously you said you don't like to look too far ahead, but you must, having helped prepare Joshua for a world title fight at Wembley Stadium, it's going to be huge. Yeah. Even Liam Gallagher's going to be there. You must look at something like that and think, that's where I want to get to. Is that the goal, to have a huge stadium fight one day, world titles? Is that the ambition for you?
Yeah, of course, because at the end of the day, I think every boxer wouldn't just like to box or just train and everything and not be in the limelight and big time. And obviously Joshua and Dubois is probably going to be the biggest fight of the year. So when I see stuff like that and just being involved in the camp, it's just going to inspire me to want to be there and want to be in those positions and be involved in big fights and big nights as well, which obviously that is a plan we're working on towards.
And as someone with a better perspective than most, I'm going to ask this final question here, and it's a simple one. Do you have a prediction for Joshua versus Dubois? How do you think this fight is going to go? You've obviously been in there, worked with one of the protagonists. How do you think the fight is going to end?
Just from my obviously personal experience and just from watching both fighters and obviously being in camp with Joshua, I see that he's looking very dangerous and he's looking very like laser focused, as I mentioned earlier. And he looks like everything he's doing is going to be calculated. But I don't know. I just don't see the fight going past 7 or 6. And I think it's going to favour Joshua. And as I said, or I didn't say, I said in another interview, Ben Davison mentioned how Daniel Dubois' strengths and weaknesses falls into AJ's hands. And I feel like some people they just mention, they just talk. But being involved in the camp with Joshua, I can see why he will say that. So I just don't see the fight going. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a very early, like devastating knockout. I wouldn't be surprised. It's not even being biased or anything, but just from what I've seen, I wouldn't be surprised at all.